Okay. Just give me one sec, Susan. Okay, I can see us. Okay. And I just need to come back and find you now. Give me one second.
Okay, you got it.
At least we're live. We are live.
You did it.
I did. I did. Now, give me one sec. I just need to find you. Where did you go, Susan? Zoom. There. Whew. And we are
Yay!
live. And let me just make sure on my channel that it is showing up because I'm not very good at this stuff. Okay. Perfect. Okay, I think it's okay. We're going to give it a couple minutes for everyone to jump on. But Susan Reynolds, thank you so much for joining us and doing this live, which is a little intimidating. But I know that, we've got a lot to say, and I do love live and interactive videos where people can ask their questions. So today's video is psychic predictions and astrological predictions for January 2024 with Susan Reynolds and Patricia Monna. Thank you so much for joining me on my YouTube channel, Susan.
My pleasure. This is the first time we have done this live, and there's a whole different energy and immediacy that comes forward with doing this live. So it's very exciting. I'm so glad I'm here, and we're going to do this.
Me too, me too. And we both have a lot to say with the year 2024. There's so much going on, and that will take place in 2024 and 2025. These are the years right now. We're in it. We're in the years that matter the most. So, Susan, I know that you do the Karmic Astrology for the months in the year that is coming up. And would you like to go first?
Sure. Let's start talking about January, because we do have several big and important things happening in January. Now, that doesn't mean bad, because I know when I'm talking to my clients, as soon as I mention something about big or a change, I can feel their energy tightening up, like, no, I don't want to hear this. So understand, change is not bad. When I say something big is happening, I'm not saying something negative is happening. But we have three astrological things that are all important happening right now. January 1st, today, we have Mercury finally turning, well, I say finally because I've been waiting for this for weeks, finally turning direct. We spent most of the holiday season with Mercury retrograde, which means delays in travel, items that you ordered online don't come, or they come broken, or the wrong item comes, and plans with family get messed up and have to be redone. And all the annoyances that happen with the Mercury retrograde happened during the holiday season. But we survived. And today, as we kick off a new month, a new year, Mercury is direct, meaning it's safe to turn on our computer. We could start making appointments again. Things start to move forward. What I love about this month is that towards the end of the month, on January 27th, the planet Uranus is also going to turn direct. This planet has been retrograde or seeming to move backwards for several months. Uranus is an exciting planet. It's a planet of change. It's a planet of independence, freedom, upheaval. So a lot of people have felt trapped. I don't know if you've seen this in your practice in 2023, Patricia, but so many of my clients have been saying they feel stuck. They haven't been able to do the things they want to do. They're frustrated. They're at the point they're a little discouraged. 23 had a lot of Earth energy and a lot of Taurus energy. And Taurus, if you know a Taurus, you know it's kind of a stubborn sign. No, nothing against Taurus, but if you know a Taurus, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And sometimes we need that. We need a sense of stubbornness to stick with something and not walk away at the first sign of trouble. But sometimes that stuck energy has us feeling like we can't move. We can't do what we want to do. We want something to happen and nothing's happening. All that's going to change. right here in January as this planet starts to go forward instead of back. So I'm going to say revisit things from last year that you got turned down for. If you got turned down for that job or turned down for that interview, give them a call. Touch base after the 27th when this planet starts to move again. If there's some idea you had that you thought was a great idea and other people kind of just poo-pooed it, revisit it again. Because things that were stuck and not moving are now starting to move. And that's one of the biggest changes from 23 to 24. So when Patricia and I talk about big things happening, I'm excited about that because we couldn't make things happen last year. And now we can. And so think about all the things. This is a perfect day to do this. Think about what do you want to accomplish in 2024? What are the projects you want to see move forward? What are the changes you want to make in your life? I know for many of us, we do different kind of ceremonies on New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, burning bowl, New Year's resolutions, but do something on the 28th after this planet turns direct and you have access to a forward-moving energy. Take some time, write out your goals, 2 or 3. What are the big things you want this year to be about? Consciously bring in that energy of Uranus. Activate that energy and start to take some step, even if it's just some small step. Read a book about something, call somebody, research something online. It doesn't have to be a major deal. And you are going to activate that energy. Do you see the same thing happening, or do you get a feel? January feels, I don't know how to put this. It feels like preparation is the word I want to use. There's a lot of Capricorn energy. January is a Capricorn month, and Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and that's not a light and fluffy, let's party kind of planet. That's, what's the plan here? Who's doing what? Let's make a list. Who's paying for this? This is a great month to think ahead, to make your plans, to focus, to plan. You might not be able to implement everything in January, nor are you supposed to. But you can start looking at it. You can't accomplish anything if you don't have your goals set. So I think January is a great time for preparation and for starting to look at that. What about you?
Yeah, I definitely agree with what you said. So with 2023, it was kind of a catch-up year, a bland year, a stuck year. It had very heavy energy and a lot of people processing a lot of traumas and things coming to the surface, which it can make you feel stuck on the issue, stuck in what you can't let go of. And so I gotta say, for the people that really want to shift, look at what you can let go of. Look at what you've outgrown, because the energy of 2024, it is different. It is different. We're now going into a new stage, it almost feels like. And it feels like we're ending a 7-year cycle. I saw that in a lot of people's readings this year, where it's, oh, you're a 7. Because in people's lives, like when I do readings and I look at a person, it's almost like I gain instant access to their library, to their books on who they are. And I can flip backwards and forwards and look, if I'm looking this way, I know that I'm looking at the past. If I'm looking this way, I know I'm looking into the future. It's literally like a book. Well, in that book, people have chapters. And every 7 to 10 years, depending on how stuck a person can be, how stubborn a person can be, how healthy they are, things like that will make them a 7. Which is like, oh, they flip over sooner. They experience brand new chapters sooner. They acclimate to what's coming in sooner. They integrate it. Whereas when I see a person who's a number 10, they're stuck. It's like they're the stubborn ones. Don't tell me what to do. They're the shotgun on the porch, I'm not moving. That's a 10. And so they tend to only get a few chapters in this life to learn from. Well, when I was going somewhere with that, and my mind just went.
I'm going to say there's a really good book on numerology called The Divine Triangle.
Okay.
I read it years ago, so I don't even know if it's still in print. But if you want to know your life path number, add up
Yes.
all the numbers of your birthday, the month, the day, and the year. and then keep reducing it. Like if it's 16, add the 6 and 1 together to a 7 or whatever it is. Get your number, and then you can look it up. And it will, in this book, it'll sort of tell you, here's some things you're learning on your path. Here are some things your soul came in to deal with in this lifetime. And it
Well,
will help give you some insight.
I love that because yeah, people do need to figure out what their life path number is. Um, but for the sevens, the people who have that healthy kind of turnover, 2024 is the brand new cycle. It is the brand new chapter that you are opening up. Get excited, get ready, and make that bucket list resolution for the year. So last year, I know I talked about it in a couple of my videos, and I actually did a live with you from England when I went, but last year I'm like, screw this. I'm going to start living my best life. I'm going to write a bucket list. And I did. And I think I wrote down about 30 different things. And when I went back about a month ago and read it, I got almost all that checked off the list, which is crazy in 1 year. But I'm going to continue to do it into 2024. And for me, I want to learn. I want to learn. So every month, until April, I'm either teaching a big course, like I'm going to Sedona in March to teach my psychic awareness retreat down there. And I'm going to go to the Monroe Institute, the original one, the
I've
one in West
always wanted to
Virginia.
go there.
I'm
Yes.
gonna go. And my
I want to
teacher
hear
is
all
Joe
about it.
McGonigal. I cannot wait to meet Joe McGonigal. For anyone who doesn't know who that man is, he's one of the godfathers of remote viewing. So I know I'll be one of those anxious, nervous people wanting to shake his hand because to me it's like, wow, he's up there. He's really up there on that pedestal for me. So I can't wait. I'm gonna get taught by one of the best. Because there's always something that we can learn, always. And I think that this year is a great year to learn it, whether you're doing it through school or organization like courses, or whether you're looking within and learning on your own, in your own pace. I think that that's important that we embrace knowledge right now, because knowledge is power. It really, really is. When Yeah, I think wisdom is definitely a word for 2024 that people need to step into, and their own authority as well. Knowing who you are and what you stand for is very, very important in 2024 and 2025, because the months that really heat up for me, like January, I'm going to be honest, it feels kind of bland. It feels kind of slow fast. If people catch my drift, like the days will go fast, and you'll be at the end of January going, oh, that was fast. But during the day, it'll kind of go slow. It's got this weird energy to it, January does. So it's more like sit back, enjoy the ride, stay home with popcorn and a good movie. It's the March, April, May are the months where those speed up. I could feel quite the shift in energy. So I think that that'll be an excellent time to manifest, to be able to step up quickly into a new role or possibly a new job. But the months that feel very staticky on a global scale, and I know we should probably talk about this when we get there, but I'm just going to say the months that feel very staticky is actually towards the end of the year. Because if anybody's been watching my videos, you'll know 2025 kind of freaks me out. Whatever the energy of 2025 is, it's been on my radar since 2020. So we'll see what it looks like towards the end of this year. I pray to God I'm wrong, but 2025 is the year that doesn't feel good. Whether they pull us into World War III, whether it's a massive cyber attack, whether it's another Carrington event, solar storm. I'm seeing a lot of Canadian pictures of the Aurora Borealis, which is beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful when you're seeing the Northern Lights. But please understand, you know what that is? That's solar flares. Those are solar flares. And the more we see of that, the more we're getting hit with it. We're just visually seeing it, right? And so I think that as the energy of the earth rises, so do we. And so we might be feeling that static charge in the air or that electric energy around us and not necessarily understand what it is. But to me, it's October, November, December, and then 2025. I don't like those months. Those months, they feel like chaotic. They feel like we got to keep our eyes on the US and what's happening with that election. I pray to God that, you know, people, I pray to God that people can respect each other through that time, and respect each other's opinions, because at the end of the day we all got one, and no, you know, a lot aren't the same. So I pray that the country is safe during the elections, and that the people have peace with whatever goes down in the elections. But I think that that's a very staticky time. When I went through the months of the year, towards the end of the year, there's a lot. It literally feels condensed, Susan. Like the October, November, December feels very heavy and condensed. The rest of the year kind of feels light. You know, like there's different months that, like January is a slower month. February is kind of in between. It's another one where it's like, oh, you're starting to get your manifestation power in there. But March, April, May, those are the good ones. Buy a lottery ticket, you know, during those months, because that's when it feels like the beauty is coming in, the light codes are coming in, the light waves are coming in. All that stuff is always around us, but it's easier to obtain and to acclimate with it during those March, April, May months. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it always amazes me, and we tell people this all the time. I hope they believe us, that Patricia and I never discuss what we're going to talk about beforehand. Like, we just get together and do it and see what happens. And now I will be giving, I know you've already given your predictions for 2024 talk, and I will be giving mine at the Heartlight Spiritual Center here in Charlotte, North Carolina on January 14th. But you can sign up on my website to live stream it. So
Nice.
that you can stay at home and watch it at home in your jammies, or you can have the link and you can watch it up to 2 months afterwards at your own leisure. But one of the things that I'm planning to mention in my predictions talk is to pay attention to March, April, and May, because those are going to be the big months. I may get there astrologically, Patricia gets there intuitively, but we get to the same place. And one of the reasons I'm talking about the fact that March, April, and May are so volatile is because this year in April, we have something happening that has not happened very often in our country, in the world, for many, many years. I think the last time this happened was 2000. So what's that, 24 years ago? But we are going to have the planet Jupiter and the planet Uranus come together. Now, what did I just say? Uranus is a planet of change, upheaval, newness, independence. You can't tell me what to do. You know, if you have a teenager, you deal with Uranus every day. You know, you're not my mom. I don't have to listen to you. You know, that's Uranus. You know, we want to be in charge. We want to do something we've never done before. It's very progressive, very untried. And then Jupiter is activating as Jupiter comes right next to it. Jupiter is the planet of largesse. Whatever Jupiter touches, it makes it bigger, better, more. So you've already got a planet of change, newness, upheaval, and Jupiter's coming in. It's like pouring gasoline on the fire. So it makes it even more. So in March, April, and May, we are going to be looking at stuff happening. Boom, 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 one thing after another. It doesn't mean bad things happening, but it does mean unexpected things happening. Now, this can be unexpected on the national level, on the international level, and on the personal level. Like, oh, boom, I fell in love. Who knew? Boom, oh, the test was positive. I'm pregnant. Oh, boom, I won the lottery. Boom, I lost my job. Boom, I started a new company. It's all across the board. To know exactly how this is going to affect you, I'd have to see your chart, but it's going to affect everybody to some degree. And this is one of the reasons I like doing these talks with Patricia, is because once you see this stuff start to happening, it's going to trigger. Oh, that's what Patricia and Susan were talking about. So you're not going to freak out. You're going to be, okay, I can use this to make changes in my life. I'm going to use this energy of change and newness to try new things. And I'm going to tell you the best way to use that energy is to do something you haven't done before. Now, that does not mean bungee jumping over the Grand Canyon. If you want to do that, great, but it
That is
doesn't
fun
have to
though. I love bungee jumping.
be. I always say, like, try a new flavor ice cream. Go to a restaurant you've never been before. Move the furniture around. Drive to work by a new route. Do something that's just a little bit new. The more that you do that in your personal life, the more you're taking charge of that energy, the less it has to hit you over the head, because you're bringing change and newness into your life on your terms. And that's the real key to getting the most out of this energy. So don't be surprised if your spouse comes in and says something impulsive, like, let's take a second honeymoon and go to Paris. And instead of saying, do you know how much that's going to cost? You say, yes, let me pack. Be a little bit more impulsive.
Yeah.
And honor other people being a little bit more impulsive, because even if you're like, okay, I tried a new flavor ice cream, I'm done, you're going to have at least 3 months of this where other people may be coming to you. Mom, I'm dropping out of school, or I'm not going to be a doctor anymore. I want to be a nurse. That can be change that you have to deal with from somebody else. So be aware other people are also dealing with the same energy. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you didn't. You didn't. I was just gonna say it's awesome that you're saying that because I was gonna say to people, if you're gonna travel and you're gonna, get out of your comfort zone, definitely do it in the top half of the year because the bottom half does not feel as stable as the first half. The first half feels stable. And I'll tell you, because even if they're because 2025, the energy to me feels like sit down, shut up, you're not going anywhere. Another COVID situation, world war, something. There's something that it feels very restrictive to me. The energy of 2025 does. So while we have our freedoms and we know what it feels like to have them taken away. So while we have our freedoms, get out there, go travel, go, spread your wings, do what you got to do on the bucket list. But come about October, it just feels staticky and not as stable energy as the top half of the year does. So that's where we might be hearing things, on that international level where they're trying to fearmonger and, the narrative is changing to a little bit more extreme.
I've wondered, and I'm just wondering, I'm not making this as a prediction. This is just me as a regular person wondering.
Yeah.
I wonder if we would have another lockdown because of another COVID or another strain of something. Not saying it has to happen. It's just when you feel something, like when you feel that restrictive energy, you start to ask what would cause that? What would be a reason for that happening? And of course, one of the possibilities would be, not being able to leave your home like we had to last time. Not saying that will happen, but I agree with you 100%. 25 feels much more restrictive than 24.
And
Go do in 24.
I don't mean to scare anyone by saying that, but like it's the timeline that right now humanity seems to be on, and I look at our governments and go, did your parents not teach you how to play nice in the sandbox? Like it's ridiculous in this day and age. There's no way we should be dealing with war. We know better. We so know better. And I'm just scared that I'm not scared. That's a bad word. I'm leery that we might be dragged into something, like you said, that does restrict us. And if that does happen, it will be towards the end of 2024 and 2025. Now, I've heard about other psychics saying that, oh, there's going to be martial law. There's a timeline to that. Don't feed into that crap. Don't feed into that. We're better than that. You know why a government would need martial law? Well, it's looting in the streets. It's people not behaving. It's people doing horrible things that they shouldn't. We're better than that. We're better than that. So I'd like to think that although that narrative is out there, that we're better than that. And that's not the timeline that we are going to represent towards the end of the year. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. I talk to people about this all the time, just like you do, that your reality does not have to be everybody else's reality.
Yeah.
My sister, who is a very good investor, she once told me something and she said, Susan, even in the best bull market, people lose money. And even in the worst bear market, people make money. And she's not as, maybe we'll say, metaphysical as I am, but I realized what she was saying, even though she didn't realize it, was that your reality doesn't have to be everybody else's reality.
Exactly.
And so when you feel more empowered, when you're saying, okay, I'm prepared for this, this is how I'm going to handle this, there's a sense of freedom in that. There's a sense of, you're not one of the ones going along saying, I have no control of anything. We get to make those decisions in our life. And sometimes astrologically, there are energies that come in that concern me on a national, international level, but excite me on a personal level. And one of those is what's happening right now this month when we have Pluto going into Aquarius. And that happens on January 4th. And Pluto has not been in Aquarius for over 200 years. I think like 248 years was the last time Pluto was in Aquarius. So unless you were over 248 years old, you do not know what this feels like.
Yeah.
So this is new to all of us. So think about what I just said about this Aquarian energy of what is new, what is exciting, what is different, what has never happened before, what is volatile and revolutionary. So we may see internationally countries that are pretty restrictive having their citizens uprise. We don't want this anymore. We want more freedom. We want more independence. So we may see fighting in the street. We may see some things that make the news that are uncomfortable. But on a personal level, what are we going to do to bring more freedom into our life? What are we going to do to use that energy to create the life we want? So on a personal level, I'm super excited about this. This is progressive. This is new. This is looking forward. On the national, international level, I hear a lot on the news about this new uprising of authoritative leaders and dictators. And I would rephrase that. What I see, go ahead.
Speaking of dictators,
Yeah.
Apparently Justin Trudeau is on Epstein's list.
No.
It's one of the reasons why Sophie left him.
Oh, sorry. That was bad. I should.
It's really bad. That is horrible. If that's the situation, Canada really needs to be careful how we vote next year. Like, come on, people, we're better than this. Because he was even caught with a 14-year-old when he was teaching, and he had to pay over $1 million in hush money. That's not conspiracy. That's fact. People can go look that up. He was sued by the parents. She was 14, and I don't know if I think around 23, 24, it was when he was teaching. He was a part-time drama teacher. This is who we have running our country right now, Susan. Anyways, yeah,
I did kind of pick up something about him next year. I don't know enough. I said I picked up a little something about him next year. I don't know enough about Canadian politics to know what this means. I don't know, in the United States, it's very clear. Every 4 years, there's an election. Doesn't matter if we like you or don't like you, just like clockwork. I know in England, it's like if they get a vote of no confidence, they're out the door. Like Liz was prime minister for 30 days or something. But next year, it feels like Trudeau may be out of office. Is there an election coming up?
I said the same thing. I actually think it could be some point this year where he's pushed out of office. He's shamed out of office due to what the dirt is that's coming up about him, because that's international. And Canada does not look good. Like, he's ticked off a lot of countries with his World Economic Forum ideologies. Like, this guy's a bad dude. What he's doing to Canada is brutal. But anyways, I truly believe that the Liberal caucus knows that they're going to lose the next election because of him. Like, he's such
wait a minute. He's going to be running on the Liberal ticket. I thought he was the Conservative ticket. I'm totally out on Canadian politics.
He's liberal. He's liberal. So he would be like a Democrat. The Conservatives.
I think he's in a lot of trouble. I'm just going to put it like that. I think he's in a lot of trouble next year. So apparently you and I agree.
But it comes out, I think it starts to come out this year.
Like late this year, yeah.
Yes. And so there's no possible way Trudeau can win another election. If he was to win another election, that's when we have to look at our Dominion voting machines, because there's no way he could win another election. He's so far from winning. So yeah, I think there's some serious dirt that's going to come out about him. But I think Sophie Trudeau knew that, and that's why she left him, because she just left him like, I don't even think it was a year ago. She left him for the pediatrician that she was messing around with on the side. Yeah, you can't make this stuff up. It's crazy. Canadian politics. Yeah. She left him for the child doctor. But yeah, I think he's going to be shamed out of office. So.
So once again, even though we have not conferred on this, we're both kind of getting the same thing from different ways. And again, think about this. This is a lot of changes in government. This is a lot of upheaval. This is a lot of shifting, but it doesn't mean it's negative. So, but I'm going to say something. I watch the news and then I watch for a few days and I get overwhelmed and I can't listen to this anymore and I shut it off. And then I'm like, okay, what's going on in the world? And then I listen again. So, I try to keep up, but at the same time, what I pick up from all the news stations, the ones that are on the left and the right and the middle and up and down and all over, they're not as interested in giving the public information as they are in ratings. And the way every news station is going to get ratings is by scaring you, is by giving you, the wolf is coming, the bad thing is happening, tune into us. And I understand that from a ratings perspective, but it's not healthy for the nation or for the people.
Yeah,
because we're not, whatever station you're listening to, I'm not picking sides. All of them do it everywhere. And I'm not even just saying Canada and the United States. Everywhere they're doing this because they want the ratings. So make sure you're keeping your feet on the ground and don't let yourself get sucked into this, oh my God, the sky is falling and everything is horrible. Make sure you're getting your news sources from different places and not just tuning into the headline talking heads kind of thing, because what we get is not always as balanced as what I would wish. I'll put it that way. And so this is what I do. I tune in and I ask myself, does this feel correct to me? Does this feel right to me? And lots of times my guides come in and they're like, oh, hell no. Oh, can I say that word? Oh, heck no, it's not right.
I said worse.
There are times that I have watched international leaders giving speeches. And as I'm hearing that speech, I know they're lying their head off.
Yeah.
And it's annoying to me. I'm like, you are in a position of authority. You were supposed to command respect and trust.
Yes.
That means you're not supposed to be standing up there saying things that you know are lies so that you can get power or stay in power or get your bill passed or get whatever it is you want. And most leaders do that. And most government, when I say an authority, I'm not just talking about the top man or woman, I'm talking about across the board, the cabinet or the support people. Oh, we have to do this. And you have to check within, listen within. What does your inner voice tell you? Does this feel right to you? And make sure you're not negating that and giving more authority to outside sources. Not saying they're wrong, but I am saying they're a little skewed, so just do your best to keep your feet on the ground and make sure you're balanced.
I stopped watching the news in 2020.
I can't blame you.
Even someone last night said to me, "Oh, you know the new Miley Cyrus song?" I'm like, no, not a clue. I stopped listening to the radio even in 2020. I turned it all off. There is such predictive programming. It is so terrible. I don't know if you've had the displeasure of watching the Obama's new movie that came out, Leave the World Behind. It's called Leave the World Behind. It's on Netflix, and it was literally produced by the Obamas. And it is such sick predictive programming, World Economic Forum agenda, that I was blown away. I was pausing it every 10 minutes, explaining it to my husband. And this is what they mean by this, and this is what they're doing with this. Like, even there's one part in the movie where the two characters, the brother and sister, are standing Are they brother and sister? Maybe they're, I can't remember. Anyways, the two kids are standing out in the forest, and the boy is wearing a shirt that says obey, and then she's wearing a shirt with this with Saturn that says NASA, obey NASA. So it's just it's such predictive programming, and the context of what they were saying when that was shot with the two in the frame, it's just, yeah, it's right in your face. um,
I'm gonna have to watch it. I haven't seen it.
Watch it with eyes wide open because
And that's what
it's
we're telling
totally World
everybody.
Economic Forum
Don't
crap.
blindly accept or follow. Do your best to check with them and to see if
100%.
that feels right to you. Go
And
cautiously.
speaking about when leaders are lying, to me, I can actually see it. They're
It's
already
so
people.
frustrating. There are changes.
Yes. When people lie to me, it literally, the color looks like bloody diarrhea all around them. Their color seriously turns to this murky, bloody brown color. And it's like, oh, you're full of crap. Literally. That's what it looks like to me. So, yeah, people really need to be anchored in their truth and know what truth feels like when it hits your body and your consciousness, because that's what we need. We need truth warriors right now, people who can discern through the BS so they know why they're here. And I do think that this is also the year of the rise of the light workers. There's a lot more people stepping into their divine work. They've awoken over the last few years, and whether it's going to classes, meditation, figuring it out. There's a lot of people who are stepping into the spiritual community now like never before. Like in my meditation classes, I look around and half the people I don't even recognize anymore. They're new faces, new faces. It's almost like my old class has graduated, but I'm glad to see that people are seeking answers and seeking that peace that is available through meditation.
Some of this is because of the new Pluto and Aquarius energies. Pluto is a planet, and I'm going to speak about this on a Zoom talk on the 17th. If you want to know about how it's going to affect your sign and what it means to you, I'm going to go into more detail, which we don't have time for me to do today. But I am going to say, in general, Pluto is a planet of power, intensity. This is not a planet that wants to skim the surface. It wants to get into whatever it's dealing with. And the energy of Aquarius is new age. Aquarius rules the new age. So we are going to see more people seeking these kinds of answers. We're going to see more respect. 20 years ago, 40 years ago, when I was doing this, people would laugh. Oh, what does she know? Fast forward 40 years, now we've got, people on television and writing books, and the world has come a long way to catch up with us. But because Pluto moves so slowly, it moves into Aquarius this month, and in 2024, it will stay there from January through August, but it is going to stay in the sign of Aquarius until 2043. It means we have 20 years of little by little by little, this Pluto energy getting a little bit stronger, a little bit stronger, a little bit stronger. So depending on your sign and depending on your degrees, it's going to push you a little bit. So this can be to make some changes because Aquarius loves change. So what are the kinds of changes you're going to make? What are you going to be open to that you were previously closed-minded to? How do you talk about this? I love when we just started and you said, can people not respect each other? You can have differences of opinion, and it doesn't make that other person the devil. It doesn't even make them wrong.
Yeah.
Listen instead of, oh, you believe this, get away from me. Yeah. We do that to each other, and we're hurting ourselves.
Yes.
My brother-in-law and I have very, very different political opinions. We're, widely opposite, but we get along fine. And he'll say something or mention something about, I don't like this policy because of this. I'll think, daggum, he's right. He's got a good point. And he does the same thing with me. But this has really changed since 2020. We don't necessarily see that same respect. But Aquarius is very open-minded. They don't judge. They listen. They question. Aquarius questions everything. So as this year progresses, especially between January and August, you're going to start to ask questions. Do
Mhm.
I believe this? Do I want to do this? Am I doing this because I just were fulfilling people's expectations? Or does this fill my heart? Is this what I really want to be doing? So
Mhm.
those are going to be normal questions as we all start to lift those layers. And little by little by little, we all start to grow. This is exciting for people who are spiritually aware. When I talked about this March, April, and May, in April, we have this Jupiter-Uranus coming together. It's called a conjunction. These two planets come together. In May, we have Jupiter finally leaving Taurus and moving into Gemini. Taurus is the stubborn, stuck energy. Gemini is all about movement. Stuff's going to start to break open and start moving. But the people listening to this are probably going to start to experience both of those things earlier than the regular population. The
Mhm.
more sensitive you are, the
Mhm.
quicker I've noticed you tend to bring in this energy. So even though technically I think it's April 25th that this Jupiter-Uranus conjunction happens, most of the people listening to us today are going to notice it in March. They're going to start to see changes happening in March. I agree with you. January is a little slow, but as we start to move into the year, you're going to start picking up on this new energy. And you're going to be ready for changes. You're going to be instigating some of these changes. And that means that you're going to experience a freedom this year. Well, up until maybe October, November, December.
I hope I'm wrong about that. I really do. But I just, yeah, I can feel it. I can feel the density of that energy coming in, or the sparkiness of those global events that are happening. And I don't just think it'll be the States either. Like, I know the election's in November, but I think that it's like a ripple effect of sparky energy, fire. I don't know how else to explain it, but I can feel it in the States, and then it wraps around the world. So there's something that is heating up in those months. And if it is, I hate to say it, but if it is some sort of war that we're dragged into, they already know what they're doing. They already know what's on schedule and when will happen. I think that all great wars were pre-planned for quite some time. They didn't just happen overnight, right? So I wonder if that's what I'm picking up, is the pre-planning stage of when this stuff is going to go down. But I definitely think we need to keep our eyes on China and Taiwan. Iran,
Oh,
that,
Iran's big. Yes.
I can feel that country as well. It doesn't feel good. Um, and then when I
I
look at
feel a lot
Europe,
of, do you get a lot of anger from the women of Iran? I get this groundswell of anger from the female population.
I get it. The whole country feels like it's full of piss and vinegar, to be honest with you.
Ready to explode. They may
Yes,
have some kind of revolution,
yeah, yeah.
you know.
Or they might join in the war somehow, some way, get dragged into it, or jump in. Um, I think that the men who are ruling the world right now need to take a step back and stop and really think about what they're doing to this planet, because it's not us ruining it. It isn't. They want to blame us and throw us into electric cars so that they can literally stop them, repo itself, and put conditions on our driving. Like, it's crazy the control these men of the world right now want. It's literally like they're salivating for control. And we just need to be careful not to give them that, because we're all free, sovereign human beings on this planet. No one owns anybody. No one should be um, no one should be forced into a fight that they didn't start and they want nothing to do with. And I just think of all the innocent lives that are caught in the crossfire, even with what's going on with Israel and Palestine right now. We just need to pray for them, pray for the innocent civilians, that unfortunately are caught in the political crossfire.
I'm going to mention, and I may have mentioned this many times before when we talk, don't ever underestimate the power of prayer.
Yes,
There are
yes.
a few times in world events where I have been told or shown the reason this outcome happened was because of prayer. One of them, and this may have been a little before your time, I'm quite a bit older than you are, was the Apollo 13 mission that went awry years ago.
Yeah.
And they weren't sure they could bring that back. And the world came together to pray for that. And my guide was showing that successful return was because of the prayers of the world coming together.
Yeah, I believe
I
that.
will also say, you know, the United States is sometimes a very violent country. And years ago, when there was an assassination attempt on Ronald Reagan, his chief of staff, I think his name was Jim Brady, he was shot.
Oh, wow.
And he was very critical for a long time, and then he pulled through. There was damage and his life was changed, but he lived and he started to do other things with his life. And my guys were showing me that was because of the prayer of people. That without that, he would have made his transition. There are a lot of events, and I'm not going to go into each one, in the world that happened in a certain way because a country, a nation, sometimes even an individual brought forward their prayer.
Yeah.
Don't ever think your prayers don't matter. I know how hard that is sometimes. You pray for world peace and you're praying for Israel and Palestine, and you don't see it healing immediately, and you think your prayers don't mean anything. No, your prayers are so important. They literally change the world.
I definitely agree. 100%. Oh, that's beautiful, Susan. Thank you for that beautiful reminder, because it's true, and what the world needs right now is to come together in that state of prayer and you know, and change the timeline that that it looks like we're on right now. I definitely believe that we can move mountains through the power of prayer.
What I keep hearing, because when we see all these wannabe dictators, you know, trying to take power or having power, one of the reasons that's happening is because this is like the last gasp of the old way of doing things.
Mhm.
The
Yeah.
old dictator, older white man telling the world or the nation, listen to me, I can solve all your problems. That's on the way out. This is why we're seeing it more. It's like the last grasp of, I don't want to give up power. But as we move in, that was Pluto and Capricorn, which is about authority, leadership. I'm in charge, do what I say. But as we move more and more into this new Aquarius energy, that's more modern. That's more about equality. That's more about freedoms. We're going to see this come up in our personal life, in our national life, and the international life. Since this is going to be here for 20 years, you are going to be amazed at how the world changes in terms of freedom and democracy as the years move forward. When I meditate on this issue, what I keep hearing over and over is democracy wins. Democracy wins. So I'm glad I hear that, because it helps me not get too upset when I hear about this new person who wants to grab power or whatever in some country. Overall and over time, democracy will win.
Mhm. Oh, and that goodness will prevail, you know?
Yes, I absolutely believe that.
Yeah.
Goodness will prevail.
Mhm.
Well put.
What else did we want to cover? There's a couple comments. Sorry if you saw me looking away. I've got my other computer going so that I can sorry, read the
Do we have
comments.
where are we on time? We've got time for some comments.
Yeah.
I'm going to apologize, because when I want to see the time, I have to take my glasses off and
Um,
squint. And I say all the time, I don't mind getting old, but I might not being able to see. So
well, and you know, now that I'm reading the comments, you know what I forgot to say? Happy New Year,
Happy
everyone!
New Year.
Happy New Year! Happy New Year! We made it to another one. Let's have fun with this one. Let's spread our wings and fly and create our best life. My piece of advice to you. Okay, so and if anybody does have any questions, go ahead and throw it up in the chat, and we will try our best to be able to answer them for you.
I'm going to say personal questions are probably not going to be as easy
Yeah,
for us to
no,
answer.
not
You know, but if it's something generally about Leo or Virgo, I'm happy to do my best to give it a shot. but something about if your daughter's going to marry that bum or whatever,
Yeah.
probably not the best question, you know?
Well, and we were talking about that before we started. Me too. That's why I had been invited to be on Coast to Coast with George Norrie, but they wanted me to do over the phone readings. And honestly, there's no way I need to be able to see the person that I'm looking at because it is like going into the Akashic Records, pulling your book off the shelf. I just need to be able to see you. The minute I see a picture of a person or see the person, it all comes and I can get into their field and their energy and information. But man, oh man, those psychics that do the call in and it's generalized information, it's generalized BS. I like to be able to say, oh yeah, your Aunt Samantha is here, or this is where you're going to find your missing ring, and then it's right there. I like to be precise, so I got to see someone in order to be precise. But Takia had said, living in Japan, Japan is currently experiencing continuous tremors due to a major earthquake. Any insight on that?
I'm going to say number one, I put that in my yearly predictions that Japan, because I always have a geographical section about what I see happening in the world. And when I start to meditate on Japan, like what's going on with them, I saw this big crack. I was like, oh no, they're going to have another major earthquake. So I am not surprised Japan is having another major earthquake. The biggest question for me is this it? Or is there another one? I do think Japan is going to have a hard time this year geographically. They're at risk for another earthquake. They're at risk for a tsunami. So I would be super careful.
Well, we didn't really mention about weather. I forgot to talk about that. When I kind of looked into the weather, it does feel like Mother Earth is heating up. So we're going to see some weird weather patterns. Like here in Calgary, Alberta, right now on January 1st, it should probably be about -15. Well, we've had -30 in January, but about -10, -15. It's beautiful weather. It's about 3 degrees, and it rained last night. Even though we have snow on the ground, it was pouring rain on New Year's Eve, and I just thought that was such a beautiful energy, unexpected, because water is cleansing, right? What did we need cleansing? I actually stood out in the rain because I couldn't believe it. It's like, oh my God, it's raining in January. That's so weird, especially when we got snow on the ground. So the roads are super icy today. Anyone in Calgary, be careful when you're driving. It's icy. But we're gonna see the weird weather patterns. I also believe that somewhere in California, down along that coast, they're gonna have some crazy, crazy, crazy weather and possibly things that haven't happened in a long time there, weather speaking. It just feels like there's going to be weather pattern changes that we're not really expecting that makes us go, huh, what's going on? And I think it is because Mother Earth is responding to the energy that's going on. It's a cycle. It's a cycle. And I believe we're gonna start to see Mother Nature's wrath in some parts of our world.
Now, remember what I said about Jupiter and Uranus coming together, and they're coming together in Taurus, which is the sign that rules the earth, sudden eruptions. So I think in March,
Ah,
April, and May, the world is more at risk for some kind of earthquake or some kind of volcano eruption or something sudden and unexpected happening because as above, so below. Now, I think California is also at risk for a major quake this year. I know they get quakes all the time. If it's Tuesday, they've got some kind of tremor going on. So, but I think this would be significant. I think this would make the news. I'm a little concerned for them. So they're at risk for that. But especially this year, March, April, and May, the world is more at risk for sudden eruptions, whether that is earthquakes or volcanoes.
okay. Okay. Yeah, and I picked up the same, the weather, there's an energy to it that's mounting. Happy New Year from Ireland, Ellie. Thank you so much for joining in. I love Ireland. I cannot wait to go back there. I went my first time this summer, met my relatives. It was absolutely amazing. Thank you for joining in because I know it's quite late there. Um, Colleen says, "What do you see for 2026?" Okay, 2025 is a switch. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. It's over the next 5 years. Well, I guess we're only in 2024. So it's over the next 6 years that we are going to see our head spin with how much technology is going to change, how much AI integration these governments with the World Economic Forum are going to be implementing into our lives. You know, like I said before, you're going to see the ATM machines less and less and less because they want you to tap. They don't want you to take out cash. It's actually illegal right now in the UK to pay for anything more than $1,000 in cash. Yeah, yeah, because they want to track the transactions. They want to know everything. Wait until it comes the microchip. Mark the beast. Mark my words. It'll come. Whether it's in our lifetime, I don't know, maybe when I'm like 60 or 70, but I think that we might see it with the timeline that we're moving towards right now with this AI merging, with our bodies. That's what they want. They want inside to know everything. And right now, our cards are the representation of that.
Yeah.
So, so what do I see for 2026? Well, 2025 is when everything kind of switches. 2030, they're implementing a lot of these World Economic Forum policies and UN policies and WHO policies. So if we really need to educate ourselves on what those platforms are and what they represent because it is kind of scary. I know you guys have probably heard the saying, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. That's the World Economic Forum's tagline. You'll own nothing and you'll be happy. So they will have a 2030 agenda that they want to implement. Right now, that agenda has been pushed back to about 2035. Why? I don't know. Maybe because they didn't get their way, or I don't know. But it's kind of being pushed back to about 2035. They want to, in Canada, by 2025, they don't want any more gas-powered vehicles to be sold or made. By 2030, I believe that 2030 or 2035, they don't even want them on the road. So if you think about these electric vehicles and what they're connected to, like I said, how they can repo themselves, the government will know exactly where you are because you're sitting in a vehicle that emits, and I know you can say, well, we got OnStar and everything right now. I don't. I have nothing in my vehicle that can be tracked. Nothing. Because nobody needs to know where I am other than my husband and my family. But I think we are going to see a massive shift in AI technology, these EV cars being shoved down our throat, all of that. And that's great, great thinking. But in -40, these batteries don't work. And when the battery is worth more than the car, in BC, there was just a guy who got front end damage to his electric vehicle. And the ICBC completely wrote it off because the battery was $60,000, even though the car was brand new. The battery was $60,000, so they wrote it off. And that made front page news. So we got to think of where this is all going because it is control. What are we being hooked up to, right?
I think there's a lot of things going on in 2026 that we're not going to fully understand until 2025. Because 2025 is such a transition year with so many changes.
I see what you're saying. Yes.
It's sort of like COVID in 2020. You might be asking what's happening in 2021. If it was 18 or 19, you're like, there's things happening that we don't really know in 21 because we have to get through 20 to get there.
Bingo. You hit the nail on the head. Totally. Because 2026 really depends on what's going down in 2025. So, yeah. Girl, I 1,000% agree with you. Totally agree with you. And I think that things really rapidly change. Like we had time chunks. 2020 to 2024, it was an energy. It had a thing. 2025 to 2030, that's a time chunk. That's a time chunk. What happens in 2025 affects those next 5 years. Okay, let me see what other questions we got here. Can you see how Ireland will be in 2024? Uh, Raining? Sorry. Um,
I
in which
see.
aspect, though? In which aspect? Because that's such a big, huge, broad question. Are you talking politics? Are you talking the temperature in the streets? Because I know you guys had a bunch of riots there. And in Ireland in 2024 feels safe though. It still does. It still does. To me, it's the 2025 that we all get dragged into something or towards the end of it. I
Mm.
feel like it's like this in Ireland. So I don't think that you should have to worry too much. You know, like I said, it's a 2025 that I don't
I
like.
think there may be more demonstrations in Ireland
Yes,
where people are
protests stuff.
marching in the street, but it feels fairly peaceful to me. It doesn't
Yes,
feel like they're throwing bombs or
bingo.
something like that. People are making their voice heard a little bit more, which is what I get. But I'm not too concerned about that. But for the
Yeah,
most part, it does not feel violent to me.
yeah, me too. Me too. Uh, Karen, I love Karen. Karen Eckford says, I've noticed lately my give a damn is busted. I just want a harmony and only want good visits with people. Maybe it's my age. No, Karen, it's the energy. It's not your age. It's not menopause or mental pause or anything like that. It's the energy. And do you want to hear something funny? So I found these someone, it was a home craft, that someone made at a crafting thing that I went to. And it was a jar of fucks, excuse my French. But it's these little wooden just words that say fuck on it in this little jar. And when I gave it to my girlfriend, I said, it's for when you have no more fucks to give. Here's some more to give, because that's the energy.
Love
Honest
that.
to God, no one's got any more F's to give. Karen,
Everybody's give a damn button is broken.
yes, that's a better way of saying it than my jar of F words. But I thought it was pretty funny. Yeah, and I said, and
Kind
then
of like your jar.
I said, well, and if you throw it, you're giving a flying F
All over the place.
all over. Um, Okay, so Karen, hold on to your peace wherever you can find it. It is going to get easier. Not January, not February. I'm not gonna lie about that. That feels very if you're in the mood, um, preserve your peace. Close the door. People who s- tend to suck the energy out of you, stay away from them for the month. Because you won't have any more energy to give. Um, Preserve it. Take your nice salt bath. Oh, and for anyone who doesn't know this, today is a great day to take a cup of Himalayan salt and a whole box of baking soda, the orange Arm& Hammer baking soda boxes that we put in our fridge to absorb smells. Well, it does the same thing with energy too. So dump it in your tub, make it as hot as you can, and get in there. Set some intentions, dunk your hair under there because your hair is porous and will pull in energy as well or absorb energy, and do a reset because that actually does reset your energetic grid. I can tell by looking at someone when they've done something like that. It's like wiping off yesterday's mud when they do that bath. So definitely give that a try.
And Karen, I'm also going to say, and I do not mean to get too personal with this, but it feels like in these last few weeks, a lot of people have been pulling at your energy. And it feels like your physical energy is a bit depleted. So I'm going to say, yes, absolutely do what Patricia suggested. I'm also going to say, strengthen your aura, lift up your energy, put some shields of protection around you. It's okay to say no. It's okay to encourage yourself and protect your own energy field. We all need that sometimes. You need that right now.
Well, and speaking of protecting your energy, Lizette says, hi from Miami, Florida. Hi, thanks for joining. Curious about the solar flares happening more often. Okay, so they are going to happen more often because the energy is increasing. The energy around us on a cosmic scale, on a global Mother Earth scale. And when there's solar flares, like I think it was in 1859, the Carrington event. You got to look that up. It fried everything. It fried all the telegraphs, all the electricity was fried, and they had to build it all again. Um, And there's actually, from what I understand, there's a hole in the sun right now that is causing these solar flares to come at our Earth. Now, how that can affect us, understand that we are electrical in nature. We literally have a positive and negative charge within our body. We are electrical. And so when the energy, electric energy like that, is in the air, you might know how you might notice these things. You're a lot more staticky, your hair's a lot more staticky, or like yesterday I went to go pick up my carpet to wash my floors, and oh my God, I was shocked so hard it stung me. You might notice that there's a little bit more friction in the air, right? Solar flares can affect it gives off bad EMF as well. So if you are very sensitive to energy and can feel when there's a solar flare, Defender Shield, defendershield.com has the greatest clothing and products and everything that literally defends you from EMF and 5G and radiation and all that. But yeah, we'll probably feel it in the air as the more sensitive we become, as light workers, the more we are going to notice that difference when it comes in. So like I was saying, if you're in Canada and you're experiencing the Northern Lights, please know that's a solar flare, as beautiful as it is, and as lovely as it is, that it's a solar flare at the same time. So we're going to see more of them, is what I'm trying to say. A lot more of them. And we've almost seen them nightly up here. Okay, Rabia, hi from Dubai. I love it. I love hearing where everyone is connecting in from. I love it. How do you see financial economic situation going to be this year here? Oh, in Dubai? I know nothing about Dubai. I know nothing about Dubai. I can tell you Canada, because I know our energy in the US just because we're neighbors. But Dubai, I honestly I don't know anything about Dubai. Like even
It,
psychically, I'd have to like take time and really zone in on that. But here's the thing, in Canada and the US, I do still think these interest rates are going to still climb a bit before they come down. And the economically speaking and financially speaking, it feels like Canada's in a lot of hot water. So is the US. Feels like your guys' spending is way out of control, and so is
oh,
ours.
wow.
And so they're planning something. And I don't know if it's let's crash the country to get a restart, a complete economic restart. I don't know. I'm just
I
saying.
don't think we're going to, at
Um,
least in the US, I don't think we're going to see an economic crash, but I do think we're going to see some economic challenges. And I would
yeah,
say the same for Canada. For
yes.
Dubai, now I'm showing my ignorance. I'm just going to apologize because I'm not sure what the main exports from Dubai are or where their main economy is from. I don't know if that's tourism or something else. It feels like gas prices are going up. So if Dubai is big in oil, that might be a positive economy. But when I'm looking at the country, it feels as if construction is slowing down. So there may be less construction in Dubai this year, less big, I don't know, hotels built, or it doesn't feel bad. It doesn't feel like the economy crashes. It just feels like something slowed down.
I really
I don't
hope
know if that
that.
helps you.
I hope that the housing doesn't slow down. I know up here in Canada there's a big housing crisis. Um, but
Well,
you were
down
talking
here, there's a
about
housing crisis in terms of what they're charging, not in terms of finding a place to live, but you have
no,
to be
there's
rich
nowhere to
to
live up
afford
here.
it.
That's the thing. There's nowhere to live up here, even if you can afford it. There,
Well, you could come
there
down here,
and
but I
he's
don't know
let
if you could
in
afford it.
Trudeau has let in so many immigrants that it's literally there's nowhere to live. It's crazy, and then it's crazy the scams that people are doing for people that have nowhere to live and they're dying to get into a place. There's people that are actually charging um, rental administration fees or like an application fee of $100, and then saying no, no, you didn't get the place. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe how slimy people are. So yeah, there's the housing isn't definitely in crisis in Canada. Okay, let me good. Okay, this is a good question. Can you give us an idea of how to come together in our strongest power in the world? I heard big meditations can be targeted by bad energies sometimes. I did global meditations last year at least once a month. When the pandemic started happening, I did a whole month of meditations every single day to help people save their sanity. And that's actually how I figured out how to go online and then do YouTube and stuff. I wasn't really online. I wasn't at all, I think, before COVID. But those big group meditations, I do believe, um, here's the thing, you got to trust the channel. You got to trust the person who is leading the meditation. Vibe with their energy. Are they compromised? Or are they channeling divine messages of light and love? And do they exude it? This is where you have to use your spiritual discernment. Because here's the thing, in the best of ways, just like Jesus says, when two or more are gathered in my name, that's where I'm found. So you've got people in Dubai and Ireland and Canada and all over the world, Saudi Arabia, China, or Japan. You're creating literally like a network. And think of all of us holding hands around the world when we come together in unison, in prayer and in meditation. I truly believe that we are the living vessels of the change that we need to see in this world. So how do we come together in our strongest power? Prayer, meditation, and when we're not together, when we're not connected, you show up every day as the best version of yourself. Show up. How can I help? How can I be of service? When I start my day, and I've said it before, I put my hands in the air, I say, Lord, use me. Here I am. I'm showing up for work. I am checking in. Use me. And wherever I am sent, whoever steps foot in front of me, for me, it's how can I help you? How can I serve you? How can I help make your life better than it was before you met me? Have that in your head every day. When you're driving your car, turn off the radio and take that time to connect with spirit. And I want you to go to the God of your understanding. I cannot explain that enough because religion has really scarred a lot of people. And what I'm talking about isn't religion. It is sacred connection. It is your channel that every single one of us has. We all have the ability to connect with spirit and to hear God's word and to have that energy flowing through us. The other thing that I do is I visualize that divine light literally pouring out of my pores and into my auric field. And I swear that's how I've stayed healthy through the whole thing. I've not still, knock on wood, had a sniffle, cough, cold, nothing. I made it through a whole way before the pandemic. I haven't been sick in years. And I do believe it's because I'm pushing that golden light out into my auric field. Because if you think of a virus or a pathogen, it starts out here. Well, it's got to get through your auric field or your auric shield in order to get into you, right? Well, I stop it at the door. I don't let it have a hold on me. So it's standing in your power and then coming together with the people that you vibrate with, that hold the same vibration of truth that you do, and then trust it. And when you're doing global meditations, even me, I start the meditation by clearing people's energy and then bubbling up a safe bubble, bringing in your guardian angels to guard, guide, and protect you as you do this guided meditation. I do believe in that. And it doesn't matter how much you know the teacher, always bubble up. People are human. I'm human. We're all human, right?
Many people think that if they're protecting themselves, putting their shields up, bubbling up, they're somehow separating themselves from the other energies. They're not. You're still connected. You're just connected and protected at the same time.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I'm just looking. I know we went over time.
Oh, we did. Okay.
Kathleen said, I participated in those beautiful meditations. I found it so powerful and helpful. Kathleen, I'm planning on getting back into it at least once a month. My schedule over the last few months has been a little insane, but I am planning on doing more free global meditations on YouTube, so anybody can do it. And in the meantime, for anyone who doesn't know, I do teach psychic development. I do teach meditations online. I'm actually having one on Wednesday. It's called Divine Alignment, Manifesting Miracles in 2024, and that one's online. Um, and it's a cheap one. So definitely sign up at my website, www.patriciamonna.com. And yeah, I'd love to feel your energy there and create that, network together with you. We'll be doing that Wednesday at 7. And Susan, you've
Yeah.
got classes coming up. Tell them how they can get a hold of you too.
You can go to my website, www.exploreastrology.com. Go to the events page, and on the events page, it's going to list all the places I'm giving my talk about predictions for 2024 and which ones are live streamed that you can sign up for and watch at home. There's also information there about my Pluto and Aquarius talk and what that means for you and how you can sign up for that. There's also free predictions that I put out every month for every sign. You don't have to buy anything. It's totally free. It's my way of giving back and my gift to the community. So you can always just go to the website, see what's going on with your sign for the month of January, and then keep me posted. Let me know if I was right or any of that stuff happened.
I love going back and seeing, and comparing what went down after all of it. Because I made some predictions. I think it was September of, was it 2021? I think the convoy was in 2022. And I warned people. I said they can seize your property. They can they can seize your bank accounts. And that's what happened in February in Canada. And I warned people back in September. It came as a huge hit. So I contacted Jason Shirk. I'm like, Jason, we need to talk. And so he put it on his channel and it did this viral thing. But I watched it the other day and I was like, yeah, I was right. Look what they did. They seized bank accounts and personal property. They seized the trucks, all that. So yeah, it's interesting to go back and watch the predictions. But gosh, well, thank you, Susan, for this.
Oh, thank you for having me. This has
Love
been fun. It's gone by fast.
really fast, really fast. Like I feel like I could still jam in so much. Was there anything else that you wanted to say?
No, we're going to have an exciting year, a busy year, a lot going on this year. But remember, doesn't mean your reality has to be negative or difficult or bad. Just make sure you're centered, you're grounded. As Patricia says, stay in your truth, stay in your light, and you're going to be able to use a lot of these energies to move forward and to have a great 2024. I love that.
And it's interesting because my keywords that I have written down for 2024, potent forces of change. That was so bravery and courage, standing in your power, confronting fears and embracing the new. Don't be scared to open new doors. It's time for change, you guys. We've been playing small. If you've been playing small and you feel it, it's time to step up and into your power. It really, really is. Embrace new opportunities, pursue your dreams, and go ahead and make the big choices, the bold choices. Doesn't matter what anyone else says. Feel it within you, and you'll know what's right for you. Because our book is already pre-written, and I think that that's exactly what an intuitive hit is. It's us remembering in that moment, oh, this is supposed to be the way I'm going. So follow it, follow your intuition, allow it to guide you. And the other thing that Spirit said, clear as a bell. Get out of your head, get into your heart. We should have done that last year. So if you find yourself where it's paralysis by analysis and you just think, you literally have to step out of that energy. Find a way to step out of that energy and into the peace of feeling what you need to do next, not thinking what you need to do next, feeling it. Because the voice of the soul is attached to how we feel. Spirit speaks all the time in feelings. So, okay, you guys, I thank you. Hold on one sec. I didn't see. Okay, no, they're all thank yous. Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you, Susan. I love you
Thank you
so
for
much.
having me. And we'll be here next month.
Yes, perfect. We will see you next month, everybody. Take care and be blessed, be well, happy.